Dr. Sherlonda Adkins, your physician assistant, speaker, success coach, bringing you greetings from the beautiful St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
About bragging. If you're good at something, it's not arrogance, it's evidence. Okay, so you have to be comfortable with telling people who you are and what you can do. So that's number one. And then secondly, I want us to get practice with building each other up part. The things that you were good at, those characteristics that you listed, I want you to think about how you could transform that into a business. So over here, when I heard I'm good at listening and I'm good at teaching. So some things that immediately came to my mind, good at listening. Well, to be a therapist or a counselor, you have to be good at listening.
Whether it's with her laugh, or Virginia said this was the last gift that she gave me last year, or if it's a song of praise, make a joyful noise. How many of you actually know that the name Vivian means full of life? Show of hands, do y'all know that? It does. And if you can attest that this Vivian lived out her name being full of life, being vivacious, being luminous, put your hands up. You're taking care of other people, but make sure you're taking care of yourself. At the least, be a part of a network of other healthcare providers so that you can have emotional support during this journey, because it's not all peaches and cream. All right, so that's the main part of what I wanted to tell you. Now, I have a little gift for each one of you graduates. I reached out to a group of almost 8,000 PAs. I told them I was going to be here today speaking to you, and I asked them to give me some words of advice coming from them to stay humble. You are not better than anyone else on the healthcare team. Be kind to everyone in the office. That's the lab techs, the CNAs, MAs, custodians. You're there to serve. It's not about ego. This one's so profound. This person said, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
And when I walked in, it was one of the first times that I walked into a room and did not know anyone. There was nobody in there to say, this is I was Sherlonda Adkins then, not Dr. Sherlonda Adkins, but this is Sherlonda. She's, tried and true, has a record. There was no one there to say that. I walked into the room. There were no people who looked like me. And when I say who looked like me, I was in a room of mostly all white males, maybe two older white females. And it was quite an intimidating experience, but I made it through. Once I it shook me because I was not expecting that. But once I got my bearings and I, spoke my truth and I held my ground and I walked away and it was fine. And when I left, first thing I said was that should have never happened. That should have never happened. I should never have walked into a room and not seen at least one person who looks like me. But that just kind of goes to show, to get a seat at these tables, nobody's going to come. Well, I take it back. I was going to say no one's going to come knocking on your door. Perhaps they will when you reach a certain level of influence. But generally speaking, if you have that desire, you need to let it be known. I'm big on collaboration and support, but contact people who know other people and express your interest in getting a seat at the.
So they are working on their icebreaker assignment.
I know the caliber of women that are in B&D. You are all trailblazers. Most of you are leaders, multiple business owners. But I need to teach you guys how to rest, because with a certain amount of emotional energy that you can expend today. How you choose to expend it, it's up to you. You know what? I'm just going to use this energy to yell at my coworkers when I get there. I love to send voice clips, and kind of like what you did the other day, sometimes video clips.
Yes, all right.
If you could muster up enough extroverted energy in your introverted self and do one video and then send that to multiple people, then that's a way to, kind of leverage, that one video and get it out to multiple people. So there are some ways for the introverted. Having this discussion, we're also going to have someone come in. It's a friend of mine, and she's going to talk to us. She read the book as well, and she is a massage therapist. She's a nurse, and she's going to talk to us about tips on how we can manage our emotions and take care of our body, because as you read the book, a lot of things that we experience, we store in our bodies. So first question, do you think that Dr. Anita Phillips introduced new concepts about emotional well-being? So generally speaking, was any of this new to you? hearts are open to receive what the man of God is going to come before you and share. So again, introducing my husband, my Superman, Leonard.
That's pretty tough to come behind right there.
Feeling really inspired and open and liberated. And I want more of that in my life. I want to be more open and liberated and inspired. So I would encourage you, as you are working on developing your emotional intelligence, to really consider feelings. I said, no, it was one. It was one internship and you shine. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. And that was a pretty big deal because that gave me an opportunity for the first time ever to have a job with like real grown-up people, like people with kids and houses and boats and dogs, and so I was transformed from this college student to this now professional world. And these people took me under their wing because, and I'm gonna tell you, the way that I was raised, I never thought of myself as being like, the smartest in the room, but my family would always say, oh, you're so smart, you're going to do something with your life. But, if you've heard that before, it's your family, they kind of have to tell you that, right? So it took a while for me to sort of really embody that and start believing in myself. And a little side note with that innovate, how when you go to a job interview and you're preparing for it and they ask you like, tell me some positives and tell me a negative. So there's always this thing, what do you say that's negative about yourself that you can put a positive spin on? So I used to always say, well, I get bored easily, so I have to have a lot of different things to do. That's why I became a PA, not a nurse practitioner, because I might get bored and want to switch specialties. Y'all, don't say that. We're not going to say we get bored. We're going to say that we're innovative. And so we like to work in positions where we can innovate. And when we're innovating and making impact, we're making a difference.
You could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained. What advice would you give your younger self?
I would say to 18-year-old Sherlonda that you have everything that you need already. You were given the raw materials, and every step that you take from now on is really just going to be to enhance it. You don't have to go and find yourself. You are who you are. You have been gifted and created with a unique and specific set of skills that will open doors for you. So just remain true to yourself. If you want to break out into a dance in the middle of the street, do it. Don't worry about what people think. You create the standard. You get to define what success is. That's what I would say.